Howdy, what do you know, it is Rabbit of ScrubLeet Academy, and if you're struggling with completing Honor Mode in Baldur's Gate 3, I might have a few pointers for you that can save your life. If I could do it, I bet you can too. So here's some tips to help you overcome every single boss encounter with far less risk of wiping and losing your Honor Mode progress. Let's get to it. The first thing I recommend is to experience every major fight before you do it. Know what you're getting into. This will require some research or experience within the game, preferably both. I find I'm extremely good at learning an encounter and deducing a solution within the first or second attempt because I spend that time paying attention to the abilities and sequences of bosses before giving it my real attempt. That works for me, but you know you better. So how best do you learn how to do things? Is it better to watch someone else beat a boss and showcase its mechanics, or do you just like to play keep away with the phase spider matriarch to see what kind of rotation and abilities you're dealing with? Confucius say, know yourself, know your enemy, and you will win every battle. Second, you don't ever want to start an encounter with every member of your party in it if you don't know what you're doing in that encounter. Test the waters a bit. Poke and prod the bear to see what makes it tick. Also, sneak attacks and surprise attacks are your friends. Keeping someone in the back lines to support the party and flee when needed, especially if you're a thief rogue with dashes for days on standby, is a good backup plan. Misty Step can literally make or break a fight, as can Dimension Door. Always have an escape plan, and if you don't, your main plan's just not going to be enough. Know your exits and get out of dodge when the going gets a bit too rough. Third, understand the ins and outs of camp travel and fast travel. If you run far enough away from a fight, even if your character is still in the rotation, check this little symbol down here. If it says you can flee the fight, take advantage of your options. Running away might make you feel a bit bad, but it'll be far worse if you wasted 20 hours just to stand your ground. Fleeing is a good thing, especially during a legendary boss fight. Same goes for traveling through doors, but you can't use teleporters in this same way, so keep that in mind. Leave the fight if you need to, because it's far more worth it to get free resurrections from withers than to restart everything. Number 4, know your class and spec. If you don't know what your options are, how are you ever going to use them when you need them? Vengeance Oath Paladins have Misty Step and Haste for good reason. Most of the classes have both combat elements and utility. That utility gives you more options, so don't just choose the most powerful build right out of the gate. They're extremely more risky than balanced builds that provide more options to your party. Good research and experimentation between the classes gives you so many more options, but sometimes it can be overwhelming, so just know why you took what you did, what you planned with every choice, and what you have at your disposal. Every class level chosen is 11 class levels not chosen, so know your reasons for choosing them, experiment on lame enemies, and learn what it is you play best with. And make sure to check out this feats video playlist linked above for a few broken options to help you center a build around a playstyle. 5. Synchronize your itemization with your class, spec, and damage types. Conditions like Radiant Orb, Encrusted with Frost, and Wet can make entire builds viable, so find items that add benefits to each one. Spread effects to whole groups of enemies if you can. If you do some quick research on the Baldur's Gate 3 wiki, you can enter one of these conditions and find quite a few items that synergize with other items, many of the most broken of which are even found in Act 1. Choose your playstyle, then find things that build off of that and break the game. Trust me, Honor Mode will try to break you right back, so it's only fair. 6. Control the battlefield. You'll find yourself in far fewer hairy situations if you dominate the monsters you fight. Some abilities like Fear and Hypnotic Pattern might seem bad by comparison to a fireball, but when nothing hits you, it doesn't matter that you don't win in one round. Think about how you can use them in conjunction with stronger, slower melee teammates to win a fight, or how you can protect your weak rear lines. Here's a handy tip for an overpowered build that will make every single one of your characters a 30 AC beast. 2 clerics, 1 casting Spirit Guardian's Radiant, while the other casts Sanctuary. Combine your Spirit Guardian cleric with Radiating Shockwave and Radiant Orb items galore, and give them as much movement as you possibly can. Trust me, it's not all about damage. There are busted builds, but it's up to you to play around with these spells and make them turn silly. 7. Mask your identity. Manipulate everything even if it's not how you would roleplay, and don't expect the story to work out the way you fantasize it should. Disguise self and seeming are extremely powerful if you plan to mess around with the citizens of a city, pick a few pockets, or try to make some friends when they're not feeling it all that hard. The world in Honor Mode is not your fantasy, it's your oyster, so scoop every bit of your pound of flesh right the f*** out of it. 8th, Learn the points of no return and fast travel restriction points. Very few areas in BG3 do not like it when you try to leave them prematurely, so know exactly what those points are. The points of no return will give you a clear warning, meaning that many story elements and quest events will resolve themselves, and you may lose access to regions of the world. Moving on to the Githyanki Kresh or Moonrise Towers is one of those points while dealing with the entirety of the Gauntlet of Shar and rescuing, or judging, but I won't judge you, Dame Aelin is another. Know what they prevent you from doing, what they mean for your playthrough, and what you'll miss out on if you do them. Other areas will prevent you from leaving them until you complete an element of the story, and some of these elements are a bit dangerous. A few key examples of this kind are the fight against the Apostle of Merkel, that's the second part of the Ketheric Thorm fight, Inquisitor Wawargaz, or the Dream Guardian, in the Githyanki Kresh, who's actually quite brutal, the devastatingly frustrating fight against Orin, and the final fight against the Netherbrain. Learn these points, know how to prepare, and in all but the final fight, it's a great idea to leave one of your allies out of the region so you always have a teleport home. My 9th pointer is to use the resources you have at your disposal, including potions, alchemy, scrolls, grenades, coatings, a constant elixir between long rests, NPC allies, and everything in between. But what's more, carry them with you. This can't be overstated. You have 5 fog cloud scrolls. Don't be afraid to give everyone disadvantage or just prevent archers from touching you at all. Got an elixir of Hill Giant strength? Re-specialize and make use of the free 21-point boost, which is better than you can get naturally anyway. You could use those saving throws. Have a paladin with auras? Check that they're on after every long rest. These are simple elements, but forgetting to apply one can be disastrous, and most are free or simple bonus actions. Even in combat, keep an eye out, and if something fades away, down another potion. Finally, number 10, know when it's time to go all in. Know when you can punch up, when you need to go face, when that big guy or caster just needs to drop. Get a feel for how much pressure you can put down on a single target in one round. If you expect about 100 damage without resistances by all of your characters combined, you know how much damage you can shave off a legendary boss mob. If it has resistances, deal with its mechanics and chip away where you can, but whittle it down to that point. If your party's in danger and you can reliably drop the biggest threat even in 2 rounds, give one guy the goal of defending everyone or controlling the adds and just blast the big target. It's all a case-by-case thing, but you'll learn just by playing how much of an impact your party has. You should expect by endgame, presuming you don't live on BG3, that you'll have enough to drop a boss in about 2 to 3 rounds. If you find you're not doing this, you might have a team loadout issue. Having one member reliably control the battle, 1 healing and supporting with buffs, and 2 dropping big numbers is great. If you can combine your controller and healer to get a 3rd damager in, do it. The enemy that never does any damage is the enemy you kill before it even got a turn. Whatever, you've earned this one at the end. If you're still listening, bonus tip, number 11, bring a few barrels with you. It never hurts to be able to drop free action damage at your feet, and be a noble sacrifice if all else fails. Just make sure you have a nice lighter saved up for the occasion. That's all I've got for you today. Sub up, like this video, comment, and bye-bye for now.